Well, hello again. It seems like I got on a kick of demons. I know you may not like them, and you may not like to hear these stories, but I do think they're important. I also know that the average pastor, the average preacher, uh, doesn't spend much time talking about them, especially in churches like Presbyterian Church, Methodist Church, Episcopal Church, Catholic Church. They Because they don't talk about them because people don't want to hear about them. And of course, if you talk about things that people don't want to hear, ratings go down. People start going to another pastor's service who doesn't talk about that, but talks about how if you get right with God, he'll make you wealthy. Hogwash. Almost makes me want to say something stronger. This is what I know about life. It's something I've learned about life. Is that everything that we do, if you give yourself to God, somewhere, the younger the better. But when you do, you enter into a lifetime of schooling, a lifetime of training, and it's not like going to school and sitting at a desk. I'll tell you that. But everything that happens to you happens because of a reason. And it's a lesson that you're supposed to learn. When I got involved with the occult, I had my reason for doing it. God had his reasons. Now here's the deal. When I didn't believe in demons when I got involved with them. When I got involved in the occult, however, I learned they exist. And when I learned they exist, once I knew that, I went the other direction. Once I understood that completely. That happened back in the 70s. In the 80s, mid-80s, 85, 86, somewhere around in there, I opened a cabinet shop in Cave Junction, Oregon. And business was okay, and it was something I loved. One day this man came down the driveway. I lived out in the country, 3 or 4 miles out. And a man came down my driveway, and he entered my shop. And as he came in, I used to, when I got a unique piece of wood, I would always make something out of it. It was usually for me. And it was often a cross or a religious symbol of some sort. And I had made a cross that I put above the door, the opposite door. As you came in, there was another door on the other side of my shop. And he saw that cross sitting there. It wasn't very big. It was only maybe six inches maybe. And he said, "Are you a Christian?" I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "So am I." And it turned out he was the pastor of one of the more right-wing churches than I attended. But we hit it off. I mean, we really did. It's one of those kindred spirit bonds where you just two people connect. And we got to talking. We talked about God. We also talked about what he wanted, and it was something for the church. He also wanted this, like a coffee table, and he wanted it. It was a unique coffee table. So I took him over to my house, and because I just made myself a black walnut coffee table that was truly unique, okay? So I showed it to him, and that was kind of what he wanted, and he modified it somewhat, and we were talking, and we got to talking about matters that were just purely nothing but spiritual. And all of a sudden, and I described this in the previous story that I told a minute ago, all of a sudden this feeling of dread washed over me. And I've always been kind of sensitive to the feelings of other people. And this oppressive feeling. And I thought to myself, I wonder what I said to make him mad. And we continued to talk for a few minutes, and this feeling was just terrible. And then suddenly he said, "Do you feel that?" And I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "We're being attacked by demons." And then he told me a story. about how a curse had been put over this. Now, I don't know if this story is true or not, okay? I'm just going to tell you what he told me. He told me a story about a coven of witches that had put a curse over the Cave Junction area. And he said that whenever anyone starts to talk about something that is spiritual in nature, they get attacked. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know whether the story was true or not, but as soon as he told that story, they were gone. We were home free. He was the one who taught me what it felt like to be attacked by demons. I'd had it before, but I didn't know what it was. From this point on, I knew what it was. Now, I said earlier that life is a school. If you are in God's classroom, it's not really a classroom, okay? It's life. But when you're in God's hands, you learn things. People will move into your life that know something that you need to know, and they'll teach it to you in a conversation, and you say, oh yeah, and you know it's true. And that's what happened on that day. That was how I was able to identify it when a few years later I became a pastor. I didn't become a pastor until I was 63 years old. I've always done things backwards. I was just getting started when other people are retiring. When I went to Cave Junction, not Cave Junction, when I went to Glendale, I ended up performing several exorcisms. I couldn't have done that if that man hadn't told me what it was, how to identify. I couldn't have done it if I hadn't been involved in the occult because I didn't believe in him. I couldn't have done that. This was all preparation for what comes next. Now, here's the deal for you. If you're a child of God, if you have given your life to God, you're in school, you're in class, and you're not going to get bored with it. In fact, it may be a lot harder than you really want to get involved with. Being a child of the living God does not guarantee a life of ease. It means you're going to be put to work, but you have to be willing to do it. If you're not willing to do it, God won't bother with you. And I think Jesus said something, whoever loves mother, father, sister, brother more than me is not worthy of me. You have to be willing to work for God. I hope you learned something out of this. I usually say I hope you enjoy these stories, but I don't really want you to enjoy these. I want you to learn from them. And I call them slices of life. Slices of life. And I hope you learn. See you later. Bye-bye.